Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to class. My name is Alberto Carbo with the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism, and welcome to another Real Spirit Journey. I'm here with Matthew Wood. Tonight's topic, life in an ashram, unfortunately has been canceled. Our special guest is not feeling well, but we do have something else, a backup for you, which I think you will really enjoy.
Really,
Um,
really.
yeah, it's phenomenal, and so we're excited to share that with you. You will receive, or sorry, you will see a link posted in the chat just now. Tara just posted a link in the chat, and it's a link to a YouTube video that we have with Matthew and his lifelong friend Susan. And you will also, if you go to our YouTube channel, you will also see that as our most recently posted video. Of course, if you are here in the webinar, you have two ways as always to participate. You have the chat and the Q&A. And if you go ahead and let us know where you're joining in the chat, we will not be doing Q&A tonight, but you can let us know just anything you want to share in the chat is absolutely welcome. And Matthew is going to take a moment to introduce the video since Susan was his dear friend. And so I will hand it off to Matthew and he'll take it from there.
Greetings, everyone. Yeah, this is really a fun um uh tape. And so my friend Susan passed away sadly on December 20th, but she was 72, which was pretty old for her because she'd had a lot of health problems, which I'll describe in a minute. So, and I made this tape of her. I knew that time was short. I figured 2, 3 years maybe. But I made the tape in spring of maybe April or May of 2023, last year, almost a year ago now, knowing that time might be short, and I truly wanted to record the amazing adventures we had. And I know that I recorded most of them. There was one or two things I forgot to get on there, and I might actually, if I listen here, don't get tired of myself and her, I will maybe add them at the end, but I probably won't be available at the end of this tape because I already listened to it. And so I met Susan at Present Moment Herbs in South Minneapolis, which had been founded by Bob Gallagher. And this was so she was about 35, 36, and I'm a couple years younger, 32. So let's see. 80, late 80s, yeah, somewhere in there. And she came in just to get henna for her and her daughter first one time. She was very memorable. And then she came in for help with Crohn's disease. So she'd had Crohn's disease. She felt the symptoms, she said, since age 10. And back in the 80s, there was less drugs than there is now. Um, they have some reasonable drugs, although, still it's not the same thing as cure or remission, which she was in remission for almost all of her life after we got a hold of her. But so uh she came in again, she needed help, and Bob helped her. So she had Crohn's disease, which is ulceration of the small intestine. They'd already removed a third of her small intestine, and and so and she took it took her, that was several years before, it took 6 months for her to heal. Um, and because she had such a high level of autoimmune disease that the wounds just would not heal, they just remained inflamed. Well, first she was unconscious. Golly, it may have taken closer to a year to heal, but she was unconscious, and they had her over medicated on morphine. This might be on the tape, I don't know, but at any rate, um, one of her former employers, who was a doctor, said, Susan was always sensitive to drugs. Maybe they've got her over medicated. But I couldn't recommend that because they get in a huff because they're the doctors in command here. So why don't you uh um suggest to them that she be brought down on drugs a little bit, and boom, she came right out of it very quickly, and just cold turkey right off the opioids. And this may be on this is just typical Susan. This may be on the tape, but she had this repetitive dream for the 6 months she was over medicated. Oh, and these munchkins kept on bothering her, which were evidently the nurses. But she had this dream where she was in this UFO circling the planet, and the UFO, they kept on saying how corrupt and miserable the human race was, and they wanted to destroy the human race. And she said, "No, but look what they're doing over here. That's really good. They're helping. I don't know, whatever, sick people, orphans, old people, third world, whatever." Every time that she said, "No, look what they're doing over here," they would show her what they were really doing, and what they were really doing was like not good. And so finally, after 6 months, and they wanted her to press the button to blow up the planet or the human race. And finally, she agreed she would blow up the planet. And she pressed the button, and boom, she woke up. So rather a typical Susanism. So she came in, and so she'd had a third of her intestine removed. Then it took months she had to bandage herself. She had to go to work. She had to bandage every day just because it was still inflamed. And when I met her, she was still real red in the face. So Bob gave her calamus root, which boom, totally took care of it rather rapidly. And so she got to know us a little bit, but she was like, "You guys, two old hippies," and she was trying to be a normal person, but she was failing. That was part of her problem, I think. And she said, "Yeah, you were like two big bad wolves standing up there in the behind the counter when I came in, and predatory gleam in our eyes." Yeah, that was kind of like Bob and I. And but so we really helped her, and look, I got to know her, and I invited her to the sweat lodges held at Prairie Island and Prairie Island, look, Dakota, Medwakaton, Dakota reservation that Amos Owen used to lead. And uh he's dead now. He's been dead a long time. But it was quite really great. He had um dreams about having a sweat lodge for the four races, four colors. That would be brown, red, white, uh, yellow, black, five, I guess, or would brown be red? I'm not sure. It's what was his dream? I can't remember. It must have been five. And there were people of all races there. And so she got involved in the sweat lodge and the peace pipe, and she fasted on Bear Butte. And I believe there's a story about the gnomes. There must be the gnomes on Bear Butte. And um, she 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 was support at Sundances until probably 3 years ago or so. Her husband died about 4 years ago, and then she had a stroke about 4 years ago, so shortly after that. Much more difficult to talk. So in this interview, I tell the story, and she agrees. She says, "Yeah, yeah, that's how it happened." Uh, because she can't really say a lot about, she couldn't say a whole lot. She had kind of functional English enough to answer a phone call, maybe. And so uh, I interviewed her down to this is all our adventures. That's only part of the adventures. I keep on running across the places, and I always said she had 9 lives, and I saved her life 9 times at least. It just went on and on the number of times that I saved her life one way or another. And then finally in the fall, she met my other dear friend Peter. These are the two people that I'm most, kind of spiritual friends. We were going to have him on tonight, but he's too sick right now. And we're going to have him on 3 years in the ashram. And I'm just going to record that as I did with Susan independently. And his spiritual life, very, very interesting. Uh, and life in the ashram and various, he knows all these Sanskrit words that represent various different things. He was also in a Christian in the Holy Order of Man's in San Francisco for 6 months, a novitiate program. And then he went out into the world and um, stopped being a monk, I guess you'd say. Except maybe you never get it out of your system. But and the Holy Order of Mans no longer exists. The organization that he was in the ashram with, that does still exist. Okay, so let's see. So in the fall they met, and I never seen anything like it. Susan was in her yard. We drove up in my truck, and Susan saw Peter, and she just stood there, stock still, like for 10 seconds. It was disturbing. I'd never seen anybody do that. And finally, I got out of the truck and had to kind of, Susan, and she said, she told Peter, um, yeah, I knew that you had all the same sorts of spiritual powers, kind of seership that I have. He has psychometry, which she doesn't have, but otherwise, like visionary, able to see all sorts of dimensions and other worlds, and spiritual experiences of great depth, and she just was like, and they got to talk for 3 hours because I came and I had to teach um uh RSJ or A to Z or something for the institute, and they got to talk, and that was a beautiful time. And so two of my best friends that had never been able to meet for 20 years did cross paths finally. And then about that time we did a pipe ceremony, and uh peace pipe. So Susan and I have done peace pipe for since 35 years, which is a good way to communicate with God through the top of your head, with the spirits, with the deceased, with the spirits that want to help you, your animal spirits, guides, etc. Different people that come in have things to say. And yeah, that's maybe something I didn't explain so much. But so we had many a beautiful experience that way. And finally in 2012, this might be on the tape too, the spirit said, new path under the feet. Don't turn to the left, don't turn to the right, just go straight ahead. And now, with the whole world breaking up almost, I can see that both the left and the right are unsafe. You got to go down the middle. Actually, this was 2013, 6 months after the Mayan calendar changed. Um, so then in October or so, we had a pipe ceremony, and John, her late husband, he showed up, and there he was up. I never seen this before. It was in the crown of glory, the crown of God, way up there, like up the soul star up there. He was up there, and he came down, and he was more talking to her. And I did think, uh-oh, maybe this means her time has come, that he came back for her. And we talked to Peter that night, and he had the same impression, that that could be the case. And then, indeed, I was so fortunate. She was such a dear close friend that I visited her on December 19th in the evening, and I could see it. I brought my peace pipe, but it was not a time to do a pipe ceremony. She had trouble. She was breathing heavy, and she said she felt really weak for 4 days. And I visited a little bit, and it was the only time I had to let myself in the door because she just was so passed out. I think her oxygen was low. I think she may have had clots in the lungs. I don't know. And heart attack clots, one in the heart or lungs. And then the next day she was dead. So it's beautiful that I did get to say goodbye to her, even in that state. Precious to me. So, okay, I think I will listen here, and I'll try to then record, throw in anything that I feel we left out. So, Alberto, let's get the tape rolling. I don't need to be visible in my current abode. You can um switch to that tape. Yeah,
Thank you, Matthew, for introducing the video.
yeah.
And thank you everyone for being here. I will take you briefly to YouTube and show you where you can find the recording. Of course, you do have the link in the chat. So all you'll want to do
Mm.
is go to YouTube, and you'll want to type in Matthew Wood in the search bar, Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism.
There we are, down in that corner.
and you will then select the video, not this one. This one that says live uh,
Me.
is Matthew just a few moments ago. So the video that you'll want to select is this one right here, Matthew and Susan. Stories, Matthew Wood and long-term friend Susan. And yeah, have enjoy the video, enjoy the recording. It is a phenomenal interview, and the stories. If you liked what Matthew was just talking about, you'll really enjoy this video. Of course, we will be in contact with you about tonight's topic and let you know when that may be rescheduled or what will happen there with tonight's topic. And you can let us know if you have any questions at matthewwoodinstituteofherbalism.com, and we'll be happy to help you out. And yeah, Janet's just saying how lucky she was to have you around to hold space for her as she transitioned.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, you just press that. It looks like yeah, just your second entry at the top. Just press that. That led me there. So, okay, I guess I will mute myself and we all watch it. We're all watching separately, actually. And about the time we finish, I will try to be available again, I think, if I last that.
Thank you, Matthew.
So it's delightful watching you watch the video, Matt. I think we could all enjoy just watching you watch the video. I can play the video over my computer. There is a chance of hearing background noise, like kitties hissing or a toilet flushing. Or we can have everybody watch it on their own computer, and we could meet back here at, let's say, the top of the hour. But you said you're not sure if you're going to make it the whole time? Oh, I can't hear you.
Okay. No, yeah. I don't know. I didn't have trouble just tuning in separately, but
Right.
what do people want to do actually? Yeah. Are people tuning in, doing okay that way? Do
Yeah,
we
why
have,
don't you tell us in the chat if you're watching it just fine on your own screen, or I can certainly show it on my screen, but there might be some background. So we can either turn everything down and meet up here. It's a 49-minute video. Doing okay on your own screen. Yep, that sounds good. Then you can have more control over it as well.
yeah, I'm just gonna do it on my own screen, I think.
Someone's saying, show it on your screen. So we can meet up. How about we meet up at the top of the hour? Matt, do you think you'll be? You said you're not sure if you'll be ready to answer questions at the top of the hour.
Oh, this is okay. This is only a 50-minute tape, so we meet, yeah, at about 50 minutes from now. Let's, yeah, 50 minutes.
So
Which would be actually more closer to the bottom of the hour. Or let's see.
you say like a quarter after. That
Yeah,
will be here a little bit early. So whatever your time zone you're in, a quarter
yeah.
after. Some of you are seeing this on YouTube. This is in the webinar, so it's not necessarily, sorry, that doesn't pertain to you. If you're here in the webinar, however, we'll see you at a quarter after. Matt, you'll have to turn off your video unless you're actually really delightful to watch, all your smiling and reminiscing, but just want to let you know that your video is on.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it, Frank. It's like a RSJ field trip.
I don't know how to get back to RSJ